Hello, this is Judy Bartkowiak here from NLP and EFT Kids, recording a podcast today on the topic really of you are enough. The idea that we are enough. And it was prompted by clients that I had yesterday and some thoughts I had about perhaps empty nest because my youngest turned 21 on Friday, and the others are in their 20s and early 30s. So I'm no longer needed as a mother in the sort of mothering, nurturing sense, and that's nature, isn't it? That's how things should be. They look to their partners and so on. But of course, it does pose the question for many of us as we get older of who are we when we're not a mother? And I had clients yesterday that echoed that, and I'm a firm believer that what comes to you is what you need in the moment, isn't it? That the clients you have in some way have a message for you, some learning for you, and some pause, some cause as well for reflection. And I don't know which of my clients particularly, and obviously I can't say names, was the most obvious example of it. But I think I'm going to choose the teen, a teen girl who came to me because originally she had very low self-esteem, and we'd been working quite a lot on self-esteem, particularly around her views of how she looked, her appearance, and so on. Well, I hadn't seen her over the summer, but a lot had changed actually when I saw her yesterday, and she had gone from that place of feeling very low about her appearance to it actually not mattering, and it was all about the external and how boys responded to her. And it made me think really of the work I did with Kelly Morgan, and I would definitely recommend you follow her. And she does some amazing work on the sort of divine female energy, divine masculine, distorted female, and the distorted female. So let me just tell you a little bit about those, because I think it made a huge difference to me when I did the work with her. Really made me think about which state I wanted to be in. And of course, we do have a choice about the state we choose. And I think people often think that they don't. It's just that it comes to them. But of course, as you do more work on yourself, whether you're a teenager, a child, an adult, we all need to do work on ourselves in order to, well, it's my belief anyway, to really get the best out of our interactions with ourselves and with others. So let me tell you, the divine feminine energy is about being. It's the divine creator, the nurturer, the being. It's being enough. So if I look at Kelly's notes, it's about divine beingness. It's about enjoying the moment, being in the moment, being fully present, being grateful, sort of being kind to yourself and tuning into yourself as to what you need in that moment. It's an inner regard, really, and knowing that you are enough. It's about the affirmation, I am enough. Rather than the distorted female, distorted feminine, where it's the focus is external, where you feel empty as a chalice and you're looking outside for affirmation, for validation, for people to say, oh, you look amazing. Oh, it's fantastic what you do, and also attraction from men and men noticing, and that feeling that you have to have other people paying attention to you in order to get that validation and affirmation. And in the case of my teen that I was working with yesterday, she was sort of quite literally sort of, how can I sort of kiss all the boys at the party? Because that to her was about self-worth. And it was only sort of afterwards that she realized that the one boy who had actually just told her recently that he had feelings for her was the one boy she didn't actually kiss. And we talked about how when you do this sort of thing, in the moment it's great fun, you have lots to drink, and it's great, and you're sort of kissing and hugging everybody. But actually, perhaps the person that's the right person for you is watching on and thinking, if I went out with her, she might cheat on me. Um, so in the moment, they think it's great fun, but perhaps ultimately it's not great for relationships. And that can be also the case, not just for teens, but also for adults, when we sort of, when we seek attention outside. That distorted female energy is really empty. It's feeding off others, and getting that sort of, for that validation and that filling upness from others, like like a vampire, really, that you feel you're never enough, always thirsty for more. And that could be about doing stuff for others, and you might do it in the sense of wanting to help, wanting to be useful, but actually what you're doing in some ways is getting that validation from others. You don't have to be always getting people go, oh, you're amazing, thank you so much, etc., in order to feel good enough. And I think that can be sort of one of the things in our society that women in particular seem to trap, that we sometimes fall into, where we have to be out there doing stuff, we have to be seeing friends and so on, rather than perhaps having some time of reflection and time to just be us and to just be. But let me tell you, inside all of us, we also have a divine masculine, and that's the part of us that sort of tends to have a structure and do things. It's the doing, where the female is the being. The male, the divine masculine, is the doing. It's the working, organising, planning, those sort of things. And we of course have that masculine side of us. And obviously this has got nothing to do with sort of gender. This is to do with, like, usually the left hand side of our body is feminine, the right hand side is masculine. So when you have an ailment on one side or the other, that can tell us what the connection is. So it's more of a male female energy, rather than male and female genetically, or anything like that. So the divine masculine is the part that sort of does, organizes, provides, holds, and gives structure. But then let's look at the distorted masculine. Now that's the side of us that will say, you could do more. It's like the inner bully. You haven't done that yet. You need to do this. You could always do more for your children. I could do this. I could do that. I could organize this. I need to do this. I need to. And it's very dominating, very bullying, and overly independent. Like, oh, I can't possibly ask for help about this. I have to do it myself. I have to get it done. And that's that sort of never enough. And one of the things that I've certainly been thinking about at the moment, and I have to say that was slightly prompted by the sort of very sad sort of Katie Price situation, where she's such an obvious example to me of the distorted feminine, where she's just constantly seeking, she's wanting to change her body. Her body isn't good enough. It's always got to be better. She's got to have more children. She's got to have more boyfriends, more dates, more fun, more partying, and you just know that there's that inner emptiness, which makes me feel quite sad. Whether you like Katie Price or not is not the issue. It's just that she is the sort of example of how many of us can be when we're just feeling that I'm not good enough as I am. And I find it quite sad sometimes with clients that constantly seeking to be more, to be more. I'm not enough. I need to do more of this. I could always do more. And it's like chasing after a fantasy of being like the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect friend, the perfect woman. And yet that there's some beauty in the stillness, I think, of that divine feminine energy, which attracts. I think one is attracted to that divine feminine energy because it's non-judging, it's non-demanding, it's just accepting, not only accepting of self, but accepting of others around you. And of course, we can't live in the divine feminine. I mean, goodness, we'd never get anything done. We need the divine masculine as well. And I think my sort of message really in this podcast is really to be aware that you can choose the state you need to be in or want to be in at any time, to actually say, what do I need to be in now? Now would be really good to be in my divine masculine. I mean, it's sort of, nearly 8:30. I'm on Writer's Hour, recording this podcast. I'm in my divine masculine because I'm thinking, I'm planning what I'm going to say, although it probably sounds a bit sort of random. This is the divine masculine. I may choose to be in my divine feminine on my dog walk, because I might want to enjoy nature and just stand and reflect and look at the beautiful shadows and reflections and the sunshine and the trees and so on. That's the divine feminine. And, you can sort of move gracefully between those. But be aware of when you're in your distorted feminine, when you're looking for that validation from others and that feeling of you're not enough. And look out for the distorted masculine when you're driving yourself so much. Your body has messages for you. I've done some work on the Meta Health, which is messages from the body, and I'm doing some more training. Yes, I know, I'm always doing training, but I do love it, and I do love passing it on to my students on using EFT tapping, particularly for sort of conditions, because I do see a lot of those. I see a lot of eating disorders, migraines, sort of digestive issues and so on. And of course, all these are messages from the body that we're sort of in some way feeling like we're not enough, we're driving ourselves. And there are ways that we can heal ourselves. As you know, I'm now a Reiki master teacher, and I use aroma Reiki. I had a client yesterday with aroma Reiki, and she's somebody who does an awful lot for others, for her. I mean, so many of us do, don't we, as parents? Doing so much for her kids, doing so much for her clients, but so rarely just having that still time. And to see her on the couch there yesterday, I'd got candles, I'd got some lovely essential oil. We were using the colour mirrors, and just were balancing her chakras. And it's lovely to have that time, to take that time for yourself, just to recharge. And she's somebody who suffers from migraines, and that's about sort of constantly, saying yes all the time, yes, 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 because. And she said that it's sort of come very much from her mother, who would always be, being a good person was about doing things for others. But what about doing stuff for yourself? How do you fill yourself up such that you have something to give others? If you drain yourself dry all the time by giving out, how do you fill up? And that's where the divine feminine comes in, to be able to fill yourself up, so that you are a magnet to attract others. And the filling up, the divine feminine, is very much about your sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra, as well as it being the womb space and the sexual sort of space, it's very much also the place of creativity, to create new projects, new ideas, to come up with ideas, to express yourself creatively through music or dance or art. and that is such a lovely thing to do. And so many of us think, oh, we haven't got time, haven't got time. But that's the distorted masculine. So the message of today is you are enough. You are enough. Choose which energy you want for yourself. Tune into your divine feminine energy. You can put your hands sort of over your sort of area between your pubic bone and your tummy button. Just make a nice sort of V shape and cup your womb space. Just tune in to that creative energy of the divine feminine. And of course, obviously, when you need to work, we need the divine masculine. And I do encourage you to have a look at Kelly Morgan's work. She does some fantastic training, lots of YouTube videos, meditations. She's really was quite life changing. I found in the work I did with her. Okay, see you later.